Hi there guys, nice to be with you all again today. The snow's coming down in big flakes and the grass is beginning to get white again. I don't know if the winter's ever going to end here in central Scotland. It's good that we have God's promise that the seasons are never going to disappear right till the very end of this world. Did you know that? It's true, and so the spring and the summer will come eventually. God will see to that. We're looking today in the wee final section of Acts chapter 15. It's a very, very interesting wee story. It's about two Christian leaders who have a disagreement. Paul and Barnabas, those two first missionaries. We've been following their stories. They're back home in Antioch and they're gathering with the church there and teaching and preaching and encouraging all the people there in that wee town. One day Paul comes to Barnabas and he says, "Hey Barnabas, let's go back. Let's travel around all those cities that we were travelling round before, and let's see how all the new Christians are doing." He wanted to retrace his steps on that first missionary journey. Barnabas says, "Yes, let's go, but we'll bring my nephew John Mark with us." Now John Mark had been with them in the first missionary journey, but he hadn't completed it. He deserted them halfway through. Paul said, "No, we can't take John Mark with us this time." Paul was in disagreement. He deserted us. He didn't complete the journey. He's not ready. But Barnabas says, we've got to give him a chance. Barnabas was always a man that wanted to encourage and bring on the young people, and he was the one that had encouraged Paul in the early days when the disciples were still a wee bit afraid of him in Jerusalem. Barnabas had got alongside him and reassured everybody that he was okay, that he was a real disciple. But there was such a sharp disagreement between the two men over whether John should go or not, that they decided to part company. Barnabas took John Mark and they sailed for Cyprus, which is where he and Paul had gone at the beginning of their first missionary journey. But Paul chose another colleague called Silas, and they went north and then west into Turkey overland. And so there was this disagreement, and who was right and who was wrong? Well, the Bible doesn't say, and both Paul and Silas and Barnabas and John Mark seemed to prosper after the separation of their ways. Certainly it doubled the missionary team, the missionary workforce, because now we had two pairs going out in different directions. Later on we find at the end of Paul's life, he says Timothy, when he's in prison for the last time in Rome, he asks Timothy to bring John Mark with him. He says, "Get John Mark and bring him with you, because he's helpful to me in my ministry." So John Mark did make progress, and actually he was the author of the Gospel by Mark. So they all seem to do well after that disagreement, the parting of the ways. Maybe you're struggling in a situation in your life at the moment, wondering whether there should be a separation between you and someone else. Sometimes it's not always a bad thing to separate and go your own ways. Trixie and I have had situations where it's very, very difficult with colleagues or others, and And we've been talking about it and anguishing over it and saying, should we leave? Should we go our separate ways? And sometimes God says, I want you to stay at it. I want you to stick at it. And I'll be with you through thick and thin. But other times God has said, no, that's enough. I want you to leave. And as we have left and followed God, there's been such a peace, and we've been able to go on and do other things and develop in our own lives, and others that we've parted from, they've been able to go on and do what they wanted to do in their own lives, and it has been a good thing. So it's not, what I'm really saying today is, it's not always a bad thing to have a disagreement and to stand up for what you think is right and what you think the way ahead is for you, and speak it out, and if necessary, go your separate ways. But we need God's help. We need the Spirit of God. We need the Lord Jesus to help us to know the difference when we should hang in or when we should get out. That's why we need the Lord Jesus. He loves you. He died for you. Whatever your situation, He wants to help you. He can come into your life and He can show you the way forward. In this situation of pressure that you're in, whether to stay or whether to go, the Lord can make it clear to you if you ask Him and if you believe. Trixie and I love you all very, very much, and we just pray that God will use this wee message to help you in any decisions that you're facing at this time. See you again soon.
Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy